It was so wonderful to see yesterday that 9 countries of Caribbean for the first time signed a declaration.
I see that as a true definition of what it means to be truly transformational.
Idea that we have now agreed yesterday of setting up a SID Center of Excellence in OECS. I feel that is a very transformational opportunity for countries to come together and create their own solutions through their own capacity. What are your views on that?
I think it is, as I mentioned, it's transformational, very innovative.
Hola, good morning from Santiago, where we have the 7th Regional Committee meeting for Latin America and Caribbean. And I have with me Minister Kerryne, who is the Minister for Climate Resilience, Environment and Renewable Energy, and the Chair of the 7th Committee. Madam Minister, wonderful to have you.
Thank you so much, DG. It's a pleasure to be here. And it's a pleasure as well to be chairing for a second time the regional meeting for the region.
Thank you so much. So let's have a fireside chat where the first question would be, it was so wonderful to see yesterday that 9 countries of Caribbean for the first time signed a declaration of SID's platform coming together to solve the problems of digital tendering, preparing projects and getting the best value for its citizens in terms of renewable energy. How did you see that?
I see that as a true definition of what it means to be truly transformational. I think the Caribbean as a region have really been pushing and punching above its weight for a very long time. But oftentimes when we get to the regional and international stages or global stages, we don't always talk about the things that we've been doing and how we have been innovative. We talk about our vulnerabilities, we highlight that. And so to see so many diverse Caribbean countries, although we are sister islands, many of our economies are driven by different sectors. You have oil and gas economies in Trinidad. You have tourism for Grenada, St. Kitts, Nevis, and the likes. And so to see that we came together underneath one agenda to move SIDS to its true potential, to realize and materialize that, and to give a commitment, not only in word but in writing, in signing that we are going to work together. We are going to use the platform that ISA has created for us to envision that and to move from ambition, as you mentioned, into action. I think it was a sight to behold, and I'm happy that I've been a part of that transformation. Our country, Grenada, we have set out a target in our Sustainable Development Plan, now dubbed as Vision 75, where we are going to look into investing or having 5 sectors, that being energy, education, healthcare, agriculture, and the 5th one eludes me now. But the main one is energy, and energy is a key sector for all of those things, and to see us come together to materialize that. So many of the islands in Kitts and Nevis is going to explore their geothermal potential. Grenada is well underway in terms of getting the necessary things in place for exploratory drilling. Dominica is way more advanced, and hopefully by the end of the year, they would be operationalizing their plant. And to see we came together for solar, something that we have been doing as an individual country, I think it's something that is a sight to behold, and I'm happy that my colleagues came. Dominica came for the first time, you heard him said so on the margins of the interview. And I'm just happy that we are here giving that commitment. And I think that has been lacking for a very long time, the political will among Caribbean countries. We've had platforms such as CARICOM. We've had the Caribbean Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency, but we lack that epitome of what it truly means to have regional integration or a united front. And I think the renewable energy space and the solar intervention, because it's a low-hanging fruit for us, whereas geothermal, wind, and ocean energy takes a very long time. Solar have a more direct impact to the grassroots people. And that is very important for parliamentarians like myself and my colleagues to really and truly not only look at the utility side of it, but also the impact it can bring to communities that are disconnected or not connected at all to the national grid.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And, as you very rightly said, the the joy of seeing all the countries politically come together.
Yes.
We had World Bank, we had MEGA standing together with ISA. I think this really is remarkable moment in terms of now trying to move to bringing digitization, e-marketplace and aggregate. Minister, the second question which is associated, we discussed a lot, that it's time SIDS have their own capability to find their own solutions because each country is very unique. And this idea that we have now agreed yesterday of setting up a SID Center of Excellence in OECS, I feel that is a very transformational opportunity for countries to come together and create their own solutions through their own capacity. What are your views on that?
I think it's, as I mentioned, it's transformational, very innovative. For us as small island developing states, we are often, and I always say this, we're often, I probably sound like a recurring decimal now, but we are left to decades behind in the whole energy transition and anything concerning diversifying our economies. And so oftentimes our people, the human capital, is left behind in the process, in addition to the infrastructure needed to ensure that we can progress. So to have a center of excellence that would take into consideration our localized context, because we get assistance. There might have been, or there probably is, centers of excellence, maybe not in its dynamic form as the Star C, but I know that there are already existing support that we have been getting. But oftentimes what you would see happen is that it's like a top-down approach, not necessarily considering the traditional knowledge of our individual country and our stories and the history. So I think to have a regional center for Caribbean island states, and I might be a little bit biased to say the OECS region in its first instance is something that I believe would definitely help us, not only for the hard side of the infrastructure, but the soft side that is needed to ensure that we can have a curriculum that are centralized for all of the islands, to ensure that we can have a hub or a center that can help us with our utility regulations. Often our countries we do it ad hoc. So if a project comes through the World Bank or through the EU or the UK, we would just rush to Parliament to pass legislations or regulations that is needed for that moment or that time, not realizing or not having a broad or an organized framework to do so. So I think the Stasi Center provides us a great platform and an opportunity to really and truly harmonize the regulations and legislations so that we can control the narrative in terms of the energy transition. And I believe that will give a true definition as to what the just energy transition is all about. It's about taking care that we have the grid infrastructure. It's about transmission and distribution. It's about demand aggregation, joint procurement, but it's also about the soft infrastructure, the things that are lacking that are foundational towards realizing the bigger projects. Yeah.
Excellent. And I saw that you were very excited yesterday when we discussed how this can take in digitization and digital leapfrogging, because we believe by setting up a global capability center in India to connect to domestic Stasi centers and now the regional center, so much of latest AI digitization can be given to the countries. And that links to the final question, because I must confess, it's so wonderful to see a young woman like you as a leader. You are a role model. And now we are also having a session for youth startups that includes a lot of women. So this combination of digitization, technology, Solar X for youth, this is something that we believe is extremely critical for countries' growth. How do you see that?
I see this as a great time to be alive and a great time to be a leader in the Caribbean. And I must pay respect and express my gratitude to my Prime Minister. One, for seeing my potential even when I doubted it. When I was given the portfolio, I was like, no, Prime Minister, I don't think I'm the right person. I think you made a mistake. I think you made a mistake.
That's very humble of you.
Yes, thank you. And he really talked sense into me, and he believed in me, and I believe, and he's also a young man himself, just 46 years old, and he gives young people that opportunity to really and truly be at the table and be visual and integral at the table, not only to check off a box for youth or gender, but to really hear what do we need to do as a government to transform your lives and to ensure that we have a robust economy that can withstand any geopolitical crisis or any crisis on a whole. And I believe that as a young woman, it's a bit tabooed or new novel for us to see young people in the energy space in Grenada and other Caribbean islands. Most of my colleagues, ministers who are ministers of energy or renewable energy, are men, and they are in the age range of 40 and above, more mature. So to have a new face, to have such a youthful exuberance and a new look and a new perspective being placed at the table when it relates to energy is something that I think many young people can look forward to, and young women can see that in themselves to say, yes, if she did it, I can do it too. We have had at the local level, we've been able to give scholarships to young women through the National Ozone Unit for them to go to have a tertiary education qualification through the refrigeration and AC sector. And not we tend to struggle because families still see there is a man's job and there is a woman's job. But nevertheless, we've been able to have almost 20% of the graduating class for the last 5 years being women. So we are making progress and we are making impact. So I think that, if there's only one person, like as a young woman, I can reach out to or see my story, and they can see themselves through that, and they can realize that they can be the next prime minister. They can be the next advocate for renewable energy, for solar. They can be the next person working with ISA. As a Caribbean person, I think I would have done justice to real representation of the people. So I'm happy that our leaders in the Caribbean now are giving young people that opportunity. It comes with its challenges. Oftentimes, I feel as though being young and being a woman is a good thing, but it's also a bad thing because they would see a pretty face. They would see you dressed nicely, but they don't think that you have the brain. They don't think that you have the intellect to make a meaningful contribution to the table. So we often have to work 3 times or maybe 10 times harder. But I would say to them, if that's what you need to do, that's what you need to do because that's life. And don't give up and always prove them wrong because we can do it. We can do it as young people and as women. Yeah.
More power to you, Minister, for that wonderful, passionate call for youth and women of Caribbean to take charge of the country. What we are very passionate about is that this is a moment for us to help Caribbean accelerate what our strategy is, move from ambition to action. And the fact that you are the chair is a pathway for many youth and women of this continent. Thank you so much for talking us.
Thank you for
and
having
we
me.
will work together on making things happen now.
Thank you so very much.